Popovich, experience at the highest levels in Portugal, Spain, Qatar, the UAE, and Bulgaria. He's in his first year as the head coach, taking over for Mark Dos Santos. On the other side, former MLS Coach of the Year, Frank Yallop, year number 2 at the helm for Phoenix. You look at all this talent that they have now, and he's asking now a lot of this team. They have high expectations. You have players of Drogba and certainly Rooney, a good player, Bravo, Cortez, Wright Phillips. He wants to be an entertaining side. He
has the experience on the coaching side to deal with all those different personalities, so I think Frank Yallop is a good coach for this kind of squad.
Fans are ready to go. They've been ready since they opened this joint up. It took 53 days to build this facility. Once upon a time in this offseason, this was just a spot of grass. And all the things they've done since. Luke Rooney stands over the ball in the red Matt Decent jerseys. Omar Bravo get the first touch at midfield along with Rooney as Swope Park in the navy and blue. Looking forward to moving right to left in this first half of play. Here we go, underway in Phoenix with Jordan Angeli, Mike Watts, and the ball back to Matt Watson, who's off on the run for Phoenix. Swope Park is dreaming of a USL record tonight as Luis Guardia, the official in the middle of the field. An 8th consecutive regular season win would match 2011, the run for Orlando City prior to their move on to MLS, as the ball knocked out by Felipe Hernandez.
In a big test, Swope Park Rangers have gone perfect in the season so far, but this is their first match on the road. Should be interesting to see how this squad, a very young squad, deals with all of the pressure of playing in Phoenix with all the hype that they have.
Spanish is available using the SAP button, so if you don't want to hear from Mike and Jordan, you can hear from Jesus and Jose over on SAP. Knockback for Peter Ramage. Came over in August last year. Pressure coming from Mark Anthony Gonzalez. Up the line from Wakasa, back by Wright Phillips, sliding challenge in. Regi going up the wing, 92 degrees this evening outside Phoenix.
All I can say is you're happy for that slight breeze and that 9-mile-per-hour wind when it's 92 degrees. You'll take any kind of relief from that, even if it is wind.
Cortez wearing 11 here tonight, despite the fact the official roster just this week changing. He's now gone from number 9 last year in red for Phoenix. Omar Bravo takes that number, so he says, okay, I'll take number 11. Then Drogba comes. Now he'll be number 7. It's remarkable.
I mean, and I think when those two come in and they want your number, you say, okay,
I think you barter, right?
Yeah, you could.
I want at least a Pruitt's chair, nothing less. And as the ball lined ahead to Regi. Sends service for Bravo. That headed out just in time, and Tyler Pasher was defending.
Perfect header away from Pasher. Instead of going back across, he just flicks it out of danger. Really good play for him early on in the game.
Pasher making just his 3rd start of the season and the 4th game for both teams. We're now in the end of week number 5, and these two teams have had plenty of time to get their bearings. As this the second meeting between the two sides, of course, that first meeting had some fireworks to it, didn't it?
They were calling it the card affair. The House of Cards.
House of Cards, Cardgate.
One of those.
A couple of ejections, couple of penalty kicks. Sliding challenge in. That was strong on Matt Watson. Christian Duke, the captain, who's known for his intensity, finding his way into the equation in the 4th minute.
And Duke is a player that just has a crazy engine, and good little hop there by Watson. He sees the challenge coming in and just avoids it. But Duke seems like setting a little bit of a tone early on.
Laid off the head of Cortez. Wide for Bravo. Did have an assist against LA Galaxy too, but Rooney had both the goals. This is a nice move in. Cross deflected out before it found Cortez. You can see Omar Bravo brought his dancing shoes today.
Feeling good right away. Sees a little opening here in the legs of Pasher and says, oh, don't mind if I do. The cross, not exactly what he intended, but to earn a corner kick, not too bad at the end of that play.
In the corner, lined across the box. Skied back, brought down by Vasquez. When you're taking on, you played center back, these major superstars at the collegiate or the professional level, do you almost want to close your legs and try and just stay in front of them? What's your mentality? Because you can look really silly really fast. I
actually had that exact thought when I had to defend Marta. And I thought, please do not meg me.
Did you get megged?
She didn't meg me. She might have beaten me around with a little bit of speed, but I did get a couple good tackles in on her.
Yeah, Marta now with Orlando Pride and back into the States. You think all the way back, the USL started that whole soccer craze in Orlando City. Now they've got their own stadium. The Pride just opening up there this weekend. OCB played there a couple weekends ago. Orlando City up in MLS getting in there as well. Just another of the new stadiums in the United Soccer League this year as Pasher takes over. And to a certain extent, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. When you see Drogba come to the USL, it's a good thing. When you see Marta go to the Pride, that's a good thing. You just want more stars across the larger landscape. It's good for everybody.
I think so, and I think these quality of stars coming to the U.S. to play is only going to make our soccer that much better and get us on the map.
Pasher looking for Mark Anthony Gonzalez. Bravo brings it down. Talk about a superstar with Chivas, the Mexican national team. You want to talk about rebranding the franchise, bringing in Omar Bravo is step number one.
Such a quality, experienced player. You can already see he has a little bit of cheekiness to it. I liked how you said he has his dancing shoes on tonight. He is not afraid to pull something off that not a lot of people can do.
And David Grechik, the Fairfield, New Jersey native, making his first pro start, knocking that ball out. Andrew Dykstra started against Sacramento for Swope Park Rangers. And Alejandro Zendejas had started the first two games of the year. Rooney sends it wide, stepping over. Regi fires it, that deflected out.
Regi is so shifty right there. He almost had the defender beat twice. So hard to defend him, and I think credit to Swope Park for just keeping him in front there.
Frank Yallop was really pleased with how Regi has played, and he spoke this week with us offensively against LA Galaxy 2. That's how he envisioned the Phoenix Rising project this year to look on the field.
He really liked the way that they went forward. It felt like they were a better team coming back from that victory for that victory. So as the ball gets crossed in, but they were down 1-0, came back and scored two big-time goals to make the big comeback and a win. Huge victory for them.
Yeah, that 2-1 win over LA Galaxy 2, the first of a 4-game homestand, and I asked him what a good result is from these 4 games, and I think he was just pleased to get the first 3 points and now attack a very good Swope Park team.
When you have a homestand like that, you always want to gain a little momentum whenever you can. So that's a really good sign that, 1, you can come back and get a victory, but 2, to start the homestand off with a victory.
Knocked downfield by Josh Cohen. A hard luck loser a couple of times already this year for this Phoenix side, sitting on 3 points through 3 games. Back to Stewart. Casa just out of his reach.
The ball needed to be a little bit more in front or a little less driven, too much pace on the ball.
So Swope takes over. Tyler Pasher. Swope Park, the only perfect team remaining. One of 3 undefeated, but it's that untied that's the difference. And you think back to last year, they're sitting on 7 consecutive wins, 1 more, and they tie the USL record. And I highly doubt that that's not on the mind of all 11 players tonight.
And to kind of take the buzz out of the stadium. That's always a good feeling when you come in and you make a statement against a team that there's a lot of hype around this Phoenix Rising team. So I think for Swope Park, they're wanting to kind of get these records.
Regi steps inside, brought down by Cortez. He just rung it wide. Well, you're seeing this Phoenix side just a little more creative in the final third.
And the front 5 of Phoenix are interchanging pretty well. Here, Regi just gets the ball taken over by Cortez, and interesting decision by Cortez going away from the goal, picking up that ball, but if you have a player like Regi on it, I think you want to let him take a shot as he's going into the middle of the box.
Hernandez tagging it wide. James Musa there in the middle. His 3rd start coming over from St. Louis FC. Last year in the Western Conference, catching the eye of Frank Yallop. St. Louis moving over to the East this year. Colton Storm. There's Duke wearing the captain's armband, the oldest player on the field for Swope Park, 25. It's Pasher tackled near the touchline. Here's Pasher, just 22 years old.
And clean tackle by Wakasa.
Pasher again. I mentioned he's 22 years old just to illustrate the fact he is the average age of a player for this Swope Park team. I saw a note on the Swope Park Twitter feed before the game. 22, those are babies.
They are. They're playing really well, though. They figured out a way that works for them in this 4-3-3 system. They want to keep the ball, try to build up a good attack. You could see in the last attack, they're looking to work through their midfield in Musa and switch the point of attack. They may be young, but they're producing out there.
Yeah, Gedic on the ball now, a USL Defensive Player of the Year finalist last year, knocking the ball away from Bravo. And with a 4-3-3, it sort of puts a little more requirement to move off the ball more to cover all that ground, right?
It does. It gives the midfielders a little bit more freedom in how they move.
Mark Anthony Gonzalez trying to get by. Cohen comes off his line and knocks it out.
We talked about Gonzalez in the pregame because he is so quick to get in behind. Here, Gonzalez takes a good first touch, getting past Ramage, and looked like he almost tried to chip it over Cohen's head. I like this dribble. The cutback is on, but right away, if you're Swope Park Rangers, it's good to see Gonzalez on a run.
Robert Mirosavage making his 2nd start off a preseason hamstring injury off of Hernandez. Streaming onto the screen is Bravo fighting inch for inch. Colton Storm lost it out. The reason I bring that up is because the 4-3-3 is kind of a young man's game. You kind of need a younger team to play that style, and Frank Yallop with the 4-1-3-2 today, playing with his chips and the way he wants it to play.
I like the 4-3-3 for the younger team. I think that Gonzalez and Mirosavage maybe have a little bit more defensive work to do, but Phoenix Rising with the 4-1-3-2, it gives them so much more pressure up front, on the back line, on a young team. It makes sense to me that they would want to put Rooney and Wright Phillips and Regi and Bravo, these players pressing high up on the field.
Throw for Colton Storm, 14th overall pick in the 2017 MLS Super Draft to Sporting Kansas City. Pasher Played a monster role on the run to the USL Cup final last year. Play stopped as Cameron Iwasa, the new players for Swope Park this year. A little bit of a tug. Eric Palmer Brown, 19 now, signed as a 16-year-old last year with Benfica. Comes loose, Rigi, now Cortez, sends it to Bravo! And a sliding challenge by Gidic. It had to be perfect to dispossess Bravo.
And it was perfect. Gidic does such a good job timing that, and it was a huge play. Bravo looked like he was off. Here, a good first touch by Bravo, and Gidic does a good job of stopping the attack. We knew that he was going to be busy, but that's a huge play in the 15th minute to stop Bravo from getting a good strike on goal.
Carried ahead by Jordan Stewart. Phoenix starting to really move in now. Vasquez, Cortez with the header, struck it out of play. Quarter of an hour gone. What have you liked from Phoenix thus far that's allowed them to sort of take the game over the last few minutes?
When they win the ball in the center mid, they are center of the midfield. They're going as quickly as they can. You could see there with that transition to Omar Bravo, it was 2 passes off of a misplay by Swope Park, and they were almost in really good scoring position. So I like that from them. I think for Swope Park Rangers, they're doing a good job of possessing through the midfield, but that final run and final pass for them to get them into the attacking third is a little off.
Bravo, a little interchange with Rooney. He had 2 goals against LA Galaxy 2 and touches it wide. Wright Phillips. Rooney keeping the ball. Musa the contact. He had his arm grabbed and he's pointing to the assistant referee. Alicia Messer not giving Rooney the benefit of the doubt there.
I get it, your arm's getting tugged. But it's almost as if Musa stops as well. So keep going. You might have a chance to beat him end line. There's still an opportunity there.
And when your arm's getting tucked and you're going towards the end line, is it just go until you hear the whistle? Is the moral of the story?
I would. I mean, you're in a good spot. With one more touch, you could be crossing the ball or keeping possession of it. Instead, you let it. You yell at the ref. You let it roll out of bounds, and you lose possession of the ball altogether.
Rooney jumping on the back of a defender, and our official all of a sudden has had a couple of whistles to make over the last few minutes. Palmer Brown. Storm. Mark Anthony Gonzalez stops on a dime. Hernandez. Mirosavic. Duke. Slid away by Wright Phillips. Ball out, throw to Phoenix.
That clearance ended up working for Wright Phillips, but it was a little bit of an errant clear there that got a deflection. Phoenix Rising lucky to get out of that because the first touch by Mark Anthony Gonzalez from that through ball off the side of his boot was perfect. Set him up for his team on a good attack.
Stewart plays that right down center. Pasher. Iwasa. Mark Anthony Gonzalez pushing into Ramage from behind, but Cohen off his line to carry the ball ahead. 19th minute. Scoreless between Phoenix and Swope Park. Pasher, that wasn't nearly good enough because Bravo's still going for it. Gidic ran into the ball. And it's a goal kick, and Bravo can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. This ball, Bravo and Gidic doing a good job of just going for the ball, and you can see off the back heel of Gidic right there. hard for him to go over top of the ball like that and not touch it. So I can understand Gidic. Oh, excuse us, it's a free kick.
Yeah, so Bravo had actually been whistled prior.
Seems shoulder to shoulder to me.
Nah.
I could see the complaint there.
So there's 2 complaints to be had there. Our director, Scott Ferguson, had a great shot of that right on the end line as well. That ball tapped out on the back heel of Gidic, but ultimately that was not the question to be answered. Bravo knocked out again, this time by Pasher.
Rooney's starting to find little gaps in between the defensive midfielder and the back line of Swope Park Rangers, and he's dictating a lot of this play, able to spray the ball out wherever he wants to.
How do you speed it up?
And Wakasa turns it right over. Not cleared. Rooney. Wakasa. Service. That got over the top of Palmer Brown. Regi runs to the corner, keeps it in for Phoenix. Palmer Brown, that was a little risky. That just grazed the top of his head and went right by.
Yeah, he must have been aware that there were absolutely no runners in the box for Phoenix Rising, and surprisingly so when you have 5 players in that area.
Cortez, that's into the supporters group.
And Cortez just sees a little gap. That creates a lot of space. He threatens with the long ball, and hopefully that helps pull apart the Swope Park Rangers a little bit defensively. If you threaten with that, then you can slip in behind a little bit easier.
Stewart drawing applause from another sizable crowd here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. Wakasa. Cortez tried to play Wright Phillips.
Wright Phillips, that was a good run.
Now through to the left-hand side, Cameron Awasa. Serves, that took a deflection, comes to Cohen.
Cohen had to be alert because that took a mad deflection off a defender, and he was there, he was ready to make the big save.
Palmer Brown, that header a little more intentional. This a moment ago.
And Iwasa gets in, and that deflection there. Actually, it was Hernandez who got ahead to it.
Meanwhile, Phoenix goes down the field and scores. It's 1-0. How did they do it? The smoke pours out from La Furia Roja. Phoenix Rising has the advantage in the 22nd minute. End-to-end action here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. And so Swope Park takes it back over. The home side has the advantage. They've now scored in 2 straight games after offensively struggling in the opening couple of games. As Regi, a blast from long range in the 22nd minute. Played ahead for Cortez. Outside the box, contact. Grecek guilty of the foul, and a chance for Phoenix to double the advantage.
Grecek has to make a play there.
And now he's staring to the official, who appears to have brandished a yellow card. And they do brandish that yellow. And now
in the 22nd minute,
the assistant referee, Alicia Messer, is in the middle of it as well.
And Grecek had to make a play there. So close to the top of the box. Luckily for him, he wasn't the last defender back, because if that would have been the case, it would have been a red card, and he's he's gone. It was close if he was their last offender or not. Gretschik gets away with a yellow and a penalty kick for Phoenix Rising.
Still discussions going on. Either way, Luke Rooney, who scored a penalty last week, is back at the penalty spot. He can get another one.
And that's a great player to have on hand for penalties week after week. So calm, cool, and collected.
And it's worth noting, Luis Guardia initially stood right on the edge of the box, and I think the assistant referee was the one who suggested that was inside.
She was closer. That's part of her job. She has to dictate where the foul actually happened.
So Luke Rooney works his way to the line. He scored twice last time out. Against LA Galaxy 2, once at the spot, Rooney scores! 2-0 to Phoenix. 2 goals in 3 minutes.
And Luke Rooney does just exactly what we maybe imagined he was due if last week is any predictor. He steps up to the penalty spot, places it. Gretschik guesses the right way. Just the power and the placement of the ball is too good by Rooney.
So Rooney from the penalty spot, and in the 25th minute, Swope Park has a massive hole to dig out of as Regi scores from long range, and then the goal from the penalty spot by Rooney. This 7-game regular season win streak, one away from the USL record, is entirely in jeopardy. Meanwhile, Phoenix, we spoke this week with Frank Yallop. He said, I really like the way we played last week. That's the way we should play. Right now, he's looking rather omniscient.
And when you have a player like Omar Bravo on the front line, it makes it a little bit easier for Cortez. So Cortez gets that foul called for his team and earns the penalty kick. His movement off the ball already has been really key, slicing into areas that have gotten Phoenix into dangerous spots.
Dangerous sliding pass, and eventually finds Cohen. Meanwhile, if you're David Gretschik, you go in goal for your first professional game, and this is a disappointing start. The penalty, not much you can ever really do about, except he's the one who went out and made the contact, so you don't blame him for the goal so much as for the opportunity. Here's Cortez. Cohen! Oh, it's in again! In the 27th minute. 3 goals, 7 minutes, all Phoenix.
They are definitely rising right now. Phoenix showing that they can score a lot of goals this year. Cortez picks the ball up, recognizes that Gidic is giving him too much space at the top of the box. A little touch with the inside of his left foot, gets it to a spot where he can just curl it into the back post. Beautiful finish by Cortez.
Phoenix Rising FC goal scored by number 11, Chris Cortez.
The last time he's going to score is number 11 for Phoenix before he hands his jersey over to Didier Drogba next week.
Sentimental moment for him. Well, he might score again.
Oh, I know, I spoke entirely too soon. 3 goals in about 6.5 minutes. That's incredible.
And Rooney just waved to his team, calm down, calm down. That's a lot of energy. There's already so much excitement happening in this city, in this stadium, in the team, that this is a good time to, of course, you want to keep going and keep scoring goals, but the last thing you want to do right now in this moment is lose that clean sheet that you have so far.
29th minute. This has just been a monstrous run by Phoenix. Ball a little too far for Cortez. Well, now David Gretschik, we were just talking about allowing 2 goals. Now you have allowed 3, and you got to think now he's seemingly pretty poised about the whole thing. That's not easy in front of 7,000 plus.
Not easy, but it shows that he is up to the task. I think he can make, you know, for goalkeepers, it's a difficult position to play because you don't have to do anything, and then for one moment you have to be perfect. And he's had 2 moments where they really have shown his vulnerability. Now, how do you recover for that? You still have to work hard, help your team out, lead from the back. Try not to focus on that and try to help your team succeed in any way that you can.
An outstanding goalkeeper playing his home games at Ursack Field in Piscataway, New Jersey for Rutgers in his home Garden State. Here's Džidić. Greček being jeered a bit by the fans as well. Turned over to Wright Phillips. Space again. Rigi steps into the box. That deflected by Džidić. And Greček did well to make sure that wasn't a corner.
I think my heart started beating a little faster. So many goals, like 2 minutes apart there. Rigi, you can't give him that much space. I think both Rigi and Cortez on that last goal, just too much space when they're dribbling at speed. They're too good for you to allow that. Stepping, more pressure from the center backs, and then cover that space that they're leaving.
At the half-hour mark, 22nd minute from Alessandro Rigi, his first with the club. Offside whistled against Robert Mirosavic. In the 25th minute, Luke Rooney struck from the penalty spot, and Chris Cortez in the 27th. Rigi nearly a double.
And Rigi just a little step over at the top of the box. Džidić in the right place. Makes a clean deflection and able for Greček to just swoop it up.
Swope Park had allowed just 1 goal through 3 games. That was the fewest.
Due to the high temperature in tonight's match,
So we have reached a hydration break
for the players.
Phoenix, a 3-0 lead, and at the half-hour mark, everybody's going to go over, get a sip of water. It's a little over 90 degrees. It's that oven heat. It's not that humid heat, but all the same, everyone's going over to get some water. And if you're Frank Yolup, not really much to be disappointed with so far.
Absolutely not. But you know Popovich is wishing that for the Swope Park Rangers. That hydration break would have come about 6 minutes ago when it was only 1-0.
That's right. This all bubbled to the surface so fast. And this should be a pretty clear point to anyone watching in the Phoenix area. These tickets aren't easy to get. You better get them quick because this is the greatest show on turf right now in the area. And then you're going to add Drogba in a couple weeks as they come off of a bye week. As we look back to the 3 goals in this one, can't wait to see it. As the first, Cortez. This is rather the second opportunity. The goalkeeper coming out right on the edge of the area.
It's a tough call to make, but Rooney steps up, takes the penalty kick, and just puts it away. There, Cortez just finding a little space in front of Džidić. Decides to go with a curler inside of the left boot, beautifully placed. Bounces a little bit, making it hard for Greček to get any clean view on it. Really good goal by Cortez to make it 3.
The only question, I think, is just how many smoke bombs La Furia Roja carried into the stadium tonight to let it billow out from the supporters section when they do score.
We saw a few face masks, and I wondered how hot that was, but now I get what the face masks are all about.
It's been a nice one for the fans here as the team's working their way back onto the field. We're about 30 minutes into this one. It is a hydration break. That'll be factored in. As I think that's PHX Rising FC on the Twitter. I think that might be Jose Bosch, who just tweeted, well, what do you need to go with water during this break?
Your orange slices. I love that.
It's Santa Clara. Were there orange slices for you?
No. But anytime I have a chance to coach a little U6 girls team, I go because the snacks at halftime.
Halftime and even postgame, that's when it gets better, as we see subs already coming on as Carlton Belmar and Kevin Oliveira are onto the field for Swope Park. So Mirosavic is out at the half-hour mark. Belmar, the former Rookie of the Year, has come on for Swope Park. He won that award with Timbers 2.
Substitution for Swope Park Rangers in the 34th minute. Entering the match.
And Mirosavic switching
10
places with
Carlton
Oliveira, potentially, the two former Benfica
43.
players. Felipe Hernandez, the other player who's called it a night, and Kevin Oliveira, who is just playing his second game off of an ACL tear in the playoffs last year, has come on for an extended run out.
Also, number 88,
Rooney
Kevin Oliveira.
plays the ball across the face of goal.
For
Bravo, a
85,
terrific touch
Felipe
off of
Hernandez.
Pasher. He may get a second bite at the apple here. Back to Wakasa. Ever dangerous as a crosser of the ball. That comes to Mark Anthony Gonzalez.
And as that play kind of played out, Oliveira is a player that is a huge difference maker. They missed him a lot last year after he went out with an ACL injury. Good to see him back. Played 45 last week. Just coming back from that ACL, now gets a little bit more than 45 under his belt. Good progression back from such a major injury.
Yeah, and they were missing a lot of key pieces. This is a team that lost 5-1 and gave up goals in a similar fashion. Bang, bang, bang against New York Red Bulls 2. In the USL Cup final last year, Oliveira just one of 3 players who had gone down with significant injuries or suspension in the weeks leading up to that final game, as they were in 12th place in July and made an amazing turnaround, going on the road through all rounds of the playoffs, reaching the final before Swope Park succumbed. But their regular season win streak sits at 7 games. And in just 7 minutes, that may have evaporated as Phoenix dropped 3 goals on the Rangers.
Clearly showing it can be done. But Swope Park Rangers having a hard time breaking down between the midfield and the defensive line of Phoenix Rising. So it's going to be a tough task.
Džidić. Ball checked back, sliding a couple of players in. Ultimately finds Pasher. Musa. What do you think of Swope Park making 2 changes at the half-hour mark during that hydration break?
I don't think it's too bad. You're down 3-0. You gotta make, that scoring that many goals, yes, it can be done in 6 minutes, but it's a tough task. So what changes can we make to bring on a little bit more attacking promise? Like, there's not really anything happening for Swope Park Rangers, and players like Belmar.
Ball carried ahead, knocked off the foot. Oliveira certainly looks like he's got that move back. And usually you might wait till halftime, but how rare is it to get a mid-April hydration break? And in Phoenix, not all that rare, all things relative, but still able to get about a 3-minute break to change your formation and make some subs.
And that's what I was saying. I think Popovich obviously wanted the break a little bit earlier.
Belmar nearly got behind. Cohen grabs it.
Because then maybe he can make those tactical adjustments. Doesn't have to use 2 of his subs. But I don't think it's a bad strategy. Belmar, a really good goal scorer. Oliveira, a player who can get on the ball and dictate the pace, really set the tone of what the Rangers want to play like. And I think that's kind of what's lacking. That dribble that he just had a couple minutes ago was the most stretched that it looked like Phoenix Rising had been all half.
And we're seeing, those 2 substitutes doing that damage. That was a nice step over to get the ball away from Rooney. Watson, Regi, Bravo. Little give and go, potentially. Bravo is circling around, right? Phillips gets it right back off the shoelaces. Musa. Right, Phillips seeking out Wakasa.
3 balls there in the same space. Wright Phillips just giving back to Swope Park Rangers, and he has the ability to pick out players and dish the ball, but Phoenix Rising has so much pressure on them there. Can you keep it and develop something? I think they were just kind of a little careless giveaways. Yeah, you're winning by 3 goals, but try to keep the ball a little better.
Victor Vasquez came away with it. There's Reggie's got the goal seen round the world. Oh, wow. Advantage played. Up the left-hand side, Cortez striding on. Tried to serve to Bravo. Somehow that stayed in. It's like the ball hit a wall at the end line. Watson.
Watson key too in how Phoenix Rising is playing right now. He sits in there and lets the front 5 just have the ability to go forward and go forward with a little bit of creativity. He's done a good job of winning the ball back when there is high pressure. That long ball, he wins it back, collects it, keeps it for Phoenix Rising so they can keep the pressure on Swope Park.
Through Cortez, taken off his foot by Palmer Brown. This crowd is just right on the edge of their seats right now, waiting for a 4th.
I think we all are. There's so much energy.
Frank Yelp said this week, yeah, a 1-0 win is fine, but we want to be entertaining. We want to put on a show. This is a show.
And when you see the lineup of a 4-1-3-2, you think, okay, this is going to be entertaining. We might give up a goal or 2, but we're going to score a lot when we put that many players going forward.
Not often hear a coach suggest that he might be okay with a 3-2 win more so than a 1-0 win. But he gets it. He doesn't want a bland style of play. He's interested in making this the hottest ticket in town. And with the new stadium, the new brand, the star players, you don't really need to make much of an argument that this is a place you want to be when they're playing at home.
And when they're defending, they're going more into a 3-5-2 or a 4-5-1 block, bringing those 2 players in a little bit more, and that's what's making it hard for the Rangers to get in behind. They need a run out of the midfield, soften the back line, get in behind them, make them stretch out, and then find the little pockets in front.
Oliveira, he lines that from way out. Almost put that in the sweets. But in that last instance, you see Belmar make the cut across field, bring the ball ahead, and you talk about softening play. Both Oliveira and Belmar have done a good job of attacking more so on the dribble than any other Swope Park players so far tonight.
And I like the way Swope Park plays. They want to keep possession. They want to keep the ball, play a more possession-style game. But if you don't have that run out of midfield, threatening the back line, they can just play safe and keep everything in front of them. Even with a run from the forward, it's not as unpredictable as that run from the midfield, and I think that might be what Swope Park is missing right now.
Gidich. Pasher.
There, that's where the midfielder could run in behind. When the outside back gets it, can the opposite side center midfield get in behind?
That slid right to the feet of Cortez. Cortez looking at his options. He strikes, and it's saved. Grachik.
Good save by Grachik. Could see that Cortez wanted to line one up and get a shot.
Three goals tonight, just those 2 goals against LA Galaxy, 2, including 1 in the run of play in the first 3 games of the season, where Phoenix picked up just a win to go with 2 losses. And you can look at it 3 versus 2 in the first couple of games. You can also look at it as 0 in the first 2 games and 5 since.
I think they'll prefer to look at it the second way.
Cortez gives it back. Bravo playing down center, and it's shot from distance. Rigi looking for another one, just like his first.
And immediately, Swope Park tries to spring forward.
Yeah, that's Cameron Iwasa.
There's just little moments in that defending by Swope Park that need to be a little bit better. They make a good initial clearance, and then the midfielder stands and just lets Vasquez come and win the second ball off of him as they're trying to get out. Those are the little adjustments that are going to need to happen with Swope Park at half.
Off of Nikola Popovic.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've mentioned the hydration breaks that'll go on due to the temperatures today. That means there'll be what seems like an extraordinary amount of stoppage time in the first half. The fourth official just now putting 5 on his board as 3 of those minutes, everyone getting a water break. Getting out the orange slices, Jordan.
And a little bit of stoppage time when you scored 3 goals as well.
Oh, really? There can't be that much time because they scored the 3 goals in just 6 minutes.
You can just see the lack of movement there. Awareness by Swope Park, a big lesson for them in this first half.
The fourth official has
Bravo
indicated
on to
there will be a
Cortez.
minimum of 5 minutes of added time. in the
Cortez got a second look at it. Rigi, service just too high. The only question that seems to remain right now is if Bravo will score his first with Phoenix Rising tonight, and they've made a couple efforts in that direction. The story of the sporting world over the last couple of weeks. Didier Drogba coming on to Phoenix Rising, arriving yesterday. He'll speak to the crowd at halftime. You think they're looking forward to that?
I think so, judging by their reactions to him before the game. Selfies and signatures. It's awesome. It's great to see a town like Phoenix get this kind of big-time soccer club.
Belmar. Can Swope get one back before halftime? Lines that out of play.
Good work by Belmar, keeping the ball alive, trying to make something out of it. Ends up not able to get around the ball as it's rolling away from him. Therefore, the ball just going right at the post. But Phoenix, a place where there's so many great youth clubs. Now a place where they can go and watch the pros play. It's a really good thing for this city.
Belmar on the move again. Sprays it out to Iwasa. Works by Wakasa. The two colliding, looking for a penalty. Iwasa staring at Wakasa, and there's no penalty to be given.
And it's a good dribble into the box. Iwasa does everything he can to get a cross off or earn the foul. Ends up getting a corner kick, but now every time there's something close in the box, we're going to see a few shrugs at the referee for where's our PK call.
That's right. May feel a little hard done there. And that ball just over the bar. And that took a deflection from Palmer Brown. Oliveira, terrific service.
Great service, just whips it in with the inside of the right boot. And Palmer Brown meets it perfectly.
Well, how do you top that? It seems there's only one way.
I was going to say very easily. You get over the top of it and get it back down on the frame so it goes in the back of the net.
Just his second game back from an ACL tear during the playoff run in training. And that again hit by Palmer Brown. Not a bad target in the box, is he?
He's really agile there. He comes to the near post instead of staying centrally and tries to do a little flick with the inside of his left boot to keep it on frame. Tucking it wide, but good work by Palmer Brown trying to make something out of that tough corner kick.
nearing the final minute of first half stoppage time, elongated by a hydration break at the 30th minute after Phoenix had struck for 3 goals. Swope made a couple of substitutions at the time. Regi got it going in the 22nd. Rooney followed from the penalty spot in the 25th, and Cortez, the curler, in the 27th. Sliding challenge by Vasquez.
The last 5 minutes, Swope Park has realized that they can attack Phoenix Rising, and Colton Storm does a good job of just going 1v1, deciding I'm going to make something happen as an outside back. Earns a corner kick late in the half.
Served again. Rooney this time. It swung a little too far wide for Palmer Brown to get a look. Line down to Mark Anthony Gonzalez. Back for Duke. Belmar knocked out by Rooney. Belmar looking to throw quickly, aims for the box. Belmar arriving, running into Wright Phillips. The second ball has arrived on the scene, and a foul as well.
Tough tackle there between Belmar and Wright Phillips. Don't know if the tackle was called or if it was the second ball on the field, but regardless, it's halftime.
That was a good 45 minutes for Phoenix, wasn't it?
It's a great 45 minutes for Phoenix. 3 goals. One thing promising for Swope Park Rangers in the last few minutes, they started to realize that they can still play, and they brought a little bit of energy. They're going to need that in the second half to come back from this deficit.
Swope Park has come back before. This as big a deficit as they've seen. Regi, what a finish. Curling it into the net. Rooney from the spot. And Cortez, 3-0 at the half.
Energy, and they don't have any fear. They're going at players strong. Belmar with a couple of good dribbles. Oliveira a couple of good dribbles. I think those two got on the ball more than any of the front 5 for Swope Park in the first 35 minutes.
Ramage not tested much. Frank Yallop's team has put on one heck of a show in the opening half as his coaching staff couldn't be much more pleased than they are right now. Cameron Owasa comes over from Sacramento, the hometown kid, signed to Sporting Kansas City, loaned to Swope Park Rangers for the match. Meanwhile, La Furia Roja, this supporters group, supporting the club for years, but maybe just now that run to the playoffs they've been waiting for. The lights on Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. Just the 3rd time they've opened the doors to this building. Just a plot of land not too long ago. And just like the team has risen from some early season ashes, so too is this stadium in just 53 days' time. And it looks like Phoenix Rising is off to a tremendous start in this one. On to half number 2. Jordan Angeli, Mike Watts, Phoenix, a 3-0 lead over Swope Park Rangers, the defending Western Conference champions. Regi right where he left off. Regi gets it again, steps inside. The dribbling clinic stopped just in time. Watson keeps the ball wide for Cortez, serves the ball opposite post, headed down. Gidic knocks it out, and it looked like the goalkeeper would have had it. And Bravo coming out of nowhere and putting that in a dangerous place.
You can't blame Gidic there. So much pressure early on from Phoenix Rising. And Regi with a little hesitation early on in that dribble, that was something else. Threw off about 2 defenders, able to start a really great attack for Phoenix Rising.
Luke Rooney looking for Ramage. He scores! That's a 4th for Phoenix Rising this time. Peter Ramage. Right out of the second half gate.
You can see the excitement for the captain. You just said that he hadn't been very busy. He made himself busy in the opponent's box, scoring a huge goal here right off of halftime. Rooney's ball, I don't know if it could be any more perfect, but Ramage rises and just tucks it in the near post.
The assist on the goal by number 10,
And Luke Rooney, he's got his goal from the spot, and now he's got the assist, and you got to be disappointed a bit if you're David Gretschik, the 22-year-old. That frustration, that's a ball that most of the time you would think a goalkeeper would go out and get.
I think so. I think he could have gone and got it, been confident and gone and got it, but if that's not the case, you got to have trust in your back line that they're going to go help you out in cases too when you don't feel confident to do that. So I think there's just a little lack in confidence. Clearly, I would feel the same way.
As Pasher lines that in, and a second shot from Iwasa deflects out. Back to your point.
I was just going to say, can Swope Park Rangers find that confidence again? They created some good chances towards the end of the first half. Again, hard way to come out of halftime, but the energy that they probably regained at halftime, can they get one back and see where it goes from there?
You've seen good service from Kevin Oliveira so far. First ball finds Rooney, deflected out of play by Christian Duke. Well, there's the tremendous former Orange County Blue, Josh Cohen, 24 years old, out of Sunnyvale, California. A couple of hard luck losses early, but at UC San Diego, one of the best goalkeepers in Division II collegiate athletics. And a starter for Orange County in past years. He has wrested the starting position away from Carl Wazinski this year. Not well done by Palmer Brown. Here's Regi. He's become quite the menace. Rooney. Vasquez just over the line. You look back, Swope Park last year didn't have a single shutout in the first 11 games going to June 8th, and then they had 4 in the next 15. And then towards the end, they really turned it on. Iwasa, that goes over the bar. At the end of the season, they had 5 shutouts in their last 7 games. That was more than they had had the entire season up to that point. So giving up 4 to Phoenix right now feels like a real shock to the system, especially because they only allowed 2 in the first 3 games. 1 goal and had 2 shutouts in the first 3 games this year.
I think they knew that this first road trip was going to be difficult, but with the hype of a new player signing in Drogba, this team is a little bit electrified right now, and I think it was a lot for this team to handle. But at the same time, last season they peaked when they needed to. Mm-hmm. Maybe this kind of lesson is hard to take, but how do you react to this now? You have 40 minutes to produce something. Can this young team figure out what it takes to win or fight and get back from a deficit in this league?
As the official gets catcalled by the crowd for falling down, Oliveira won by Ramage. Knocks that back to Cohen. Has to play it with his feet.
And you can see Oliveira and his vision and what he wanted to do there. When you're 2 games back from an injury that sets you back multiple months, the pace and the texture on that last ball can be a little bit off there. He just didn't put enough on it to spring his forward through. And
we're talking about a torn ACL, and that's an injury you've been through, and you're seeing more and more the way recovery is done so much different. This for Iwasa. Cohen, my goodness, laid out.
That was a huge tackle, both players feeling that.
No need to kick the ball out here. Iwasa and Cohen. We were just talking about knee injuries, and now the focus turns to an entirely different kind of injury altogether.
And Iwasa challenging here, both hitting pretty hard. And you can see pointing to the head there. They collided hard. It looked like almost head to head there. Definitely large amount of body contact.
Well, Josh Cohen being looked at now. He was trying to get up on his own accord, but you absolutely need to bring the trainer out to take a look at him. Cohen played at UC San Diego for 4 years in total. This is third professional year. There's Carl Wazinski warming up. He had 5 shutouts last year for the club. All the way back in 2015, he broke the USL save record for then Arizona United.
You see a thumbs up there from the trainer.
Naturally, you want to be careful, but Cohen, you got a drink of water, and he'll try and stay in this one.
We're talking about knee injuries, and of course I had my fair share, but luckily for me, my head stayed pretty free of injuries, and I always say I can replace my knee. I can't replace my brain.
You sound good.
Thanks.
Yeah. 54th minute, Phoenix a 4-0 lead. Anthony Gonzalez had that cut out by Jordan Stewart. But you talk about that texture on the ball, and there's some players, and I say player very broadly if I'm including myself, who never find that texture. There's Oliveira again. Pressured from the side. That deflected to Wright Phillips. Is that the last thing to come?
It's definitely a skill. It's when you get in those attacking roles, you have to learn how to slow the ball up for a teammate, how to put just the right amount of pace on a ball so it doesn't slow them down. Different kinds of textures. It is the last thing to come, but it's the most fun thing to work on, I think. Here, Oliveira does a good job of dribbling centrally, trying to commit some defenders. A little shove by Vasquez. No foul called, but you gotta like that from Oliveira. And he's a player, as you could see, commits so much attention. There's 3 players around him, so now what's the movement off the ball like in order for him to dish and put that texture on the ball and spring somebody in?
Moved to Portugal at 14 years old, number 88 in blue. Played for that Benfica Academy. Went all the way up the upper levels of Portuguese football. Up the left-hand side, Awasa trying to put the spin cycle on. That over the bar. And he's looking for a deflection. Didn't see one initially.
And a good fake by Awasa. But that's exactly where Ramage wanted him to go. He was facing that direction. Dribble at his front foot, fake to the outside, come inside, and see if you can get a better angle on goal. It's exactly where Ramage doesn't want you to go, back across his front foot.
How does Ramage try to make sure that that's the case for a center back? How do you force someone back inside, or back outside, pardon?
His front foot was his left foot, so he was facing towards the outside. That way, that's where he's trying to dictate play. He's trying to say, go this way. But if you're a forward, an attacker, you're taught dribble at that front foot, try to make them have to shift, because that half a second of them shifting is enough to get a shot off in the box.
Chested back by Belmar, off the chest of Awasa. Now Ramage shouting back at the official. He scored the 4th goal in this one in the 47th minute. Rigi in the 22nd, Rooney in the 25th from the spot, and Cortez in the 27th, and it's 4-0 over Swope Park, Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. Oliveira gets the ball right back. The interchange, Mark Anthony Gonzalez, but the pass to Awasa cut out by Watson.
Not something you see often from Watson. He saw an opportunity to go for it on the dribble. Decided against it in the end. Maybe gives it up to Rooney to say, here, you take it forward. I'll
Now,
go back to my spot.
Watson did play for Yallop in Chicago, but I'm not sure he did it that much there either. Turned over by Vasquez. You know, you're feeling great right till you hear Pasher right behind you, 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Sliced ball off the head of Vasquez. Carlton Belmar, vaunted goal scorer, trying up the right-hand wing. Jordan Stewart playing the ball out. There's Belmar again. 2015 scored 12 goals for Timbers 2. Here's through ball from Mark Anthony Gonzalez, finds the feet of Cohen. Long for Cortez, taken in by the rookie goalkeeper, David Grechik. Rooney plays it to Rigi with his left. Tried to slice it. Maybe should have tried to curl it again. Doesn't find his second.
And Rooney picks up the ball and so much space in front of him. He does the right thing. He just eats up the space and then finds Rigi slicing through a little gap on the far side, getting into the space that Colton Storm had just left. Rigi unable to get it on frame. And it all came from just a careless giveaway in the midfield by Swope Park Rangers. Now they're losing. They're trying to send numbers forward, so they're probably going to have more opportunities like that where their back line is going to have to stop attacks from Phoenix Rising. But don't make it be on a careless giveaway in the middle of the park.
Musa Gonzalez. Pasher. And there's Christian Duke, captain's armband. Oliveira gets away from Rooney. Colton Storm. Now Swope Park just trying to hold on to the ball for a bit nearing the hour mark.
And Storm there signaling at Mark Anthony Gonzalez to fill that space after Cameron Iwasa kind of leaves a big gap in the middle of the park. Can you come in and try to post up?
Wow! Gets by Gedic. Cortez chips. Didn't put it in.
That's exactly, I think, how he feels right now. So much emotion from that. Just, how did I miss this? Good little slip through. Picks his head up, and Cortez with a little dink over top, trying to make it 5, but no go.
That's such a cheeky ball to play too, isn't it?
It is. You got to be feeling good to do that.
I don't know that you do that in a 0-0 game, but I think at 4-0 you might start to play that a bit.
I want to say that's highly doubtful in 0-0.
Cortez already has a goal in this one. Ball kicked out as play returning down to the other end. An odd moment. 2 balls in play at the same time, leading to a chance. Pasher, speed of Belmar, plays it towards Mark Anthony Gonzalez. Not that time. Duke, Pasher, drops it back. Belmar strikes right to the chest of Cohen.
Good run by Belmar. He saw that Pasher had some time on the ball, stretches the back line with just his speed, tries to get in behind. Not the best initial cross, but here he picks up the ball again, tries to whip it in with the inside of his boot. Didn't get much behind that.
Palmer Brown went to Porto B, captained the side to a Liga Pro title. Was playing at the center back position. Sporting very much believes his future at the center back spot, despite the experience at Porto with center defensive mid. As substitute coming on. Swope made a couple of changes in the first half, and they'll make their third now.
Substitution.
Libo
for
Moloto
Swope Park Rangers
comes on.
entering the
Moloto,
match is number 42.
extensive time with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Moloto. Leading the match is number 24, Cameron Iwasa.
Off of Duke. Zala still pressuring. Vasquez wins it. Bounds down to Cortez. And there was a runner coming, and there was a little disappointment, a little gasp when he didn't go for it.
Sometimes when you find the ball or create opportunities and the ball just seems to find your foot, and I think right now that's what is happening with Cortez. Every time the ball goes into the attacking half for Phoenix Rising, it seems to find his foot in one way or another off a deflection right there. Just gets to him some way or another.
Stewart turning around beside himself. Mark Anthony Gonzalez go over. Coach Popovich for Swope Park Rangers appreciates the call, but this is a little ticky-tacky, isn't it?
Could definitely see the head of Gonzalez go back. But both players not looking at the ball, so sometimes that's just not being aware of your surroundings.
65th minute, and Swope Park tries to avoid a 4-0 defeat over these last 25 minutes, and this will be a good opportunity. Oliveira right to Cohen. Came to the post and collected it. That was on frame.
Really good read by Cohen, because Oliveira gets a good strike on this ball, goes right over and down the top of the wall, right over the head of Ramage, and it's a good strike, but even better cover by Cohen.
Rooney, how did he keep it? Tried to play Wright Phillips. Off of Palmer Brown. Neither Wright Phillips nor Bravo have scored tonight in a flurry of Phoenix goals. Regi, Cortez, and Ramage each their first of the year. Luke Rooney from the penalty spot for the second time in as many games has 3 in his last 2.
But you got to think about all the eyes that are on Wright Phillips and Bravo. When those two are in the attack, a lot of attention is going to go to them and covering them. It gives the other forwards a little bit of freedom in the way they play.
Through ball before it got to Oliveira, knocked out by Rambo. Cody Wakasa signed near the end of March, right before the start of the season, playing to the feet of Cortez. Puts the stop on Pasher, sends the service. Bravo the target. Opportunity opening up for Watson. Plays the ball through. Bravo, if he had that first step going in the right direction, may have challenged for it.
He shakes his head a little. I think he's a little disappointed that he wasn't a little bit more ready for that to slip through.
Phoenix in preseason did not get a win. 3 losses, couple of draws. Came out of the gates, a couple of losses. They beat LA Galaxy 2 in a comeback. Now they've got a 4-0 lead over Swope Park. Colton Storm putting the moves in on Vasquez. Takes the ball right away, but turned it over. Gonzalez. Musa comes to Wakasa, and we spoke with Frank Yallop a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about trying to get a little team bonding. They went to a Dodgers spring training game just to get the team together. They want the team to really like each other on and off the field, and you've spoken with coaches about this recently in different teams, but it seems like the cohesiveness of this team has come a long way in a short couple of weeks, and maybe that plan is all starting to come together for Phoenix.
It's so smart to do stuff like that, activities where they can get to know each other as people and not just as soccer players. That translates so well to on the field. You're not going to be best friends with anybody, we're not saying that, but just to know a little bit more about that person, what makes them tick, is so helpful when you get on the pitch.
Well, you might. But you don't need to.
You can be best friends. That's great, but it's not a requirement that you're best friends with every person on your squad.
It's not hard to appreciate each other in a moment like this as Cohen knocks that across midfield. And there doesn't seem to be an ego on the team right now offensively. Rooney scored the goals in the first game. Rooney's got a goal in this one. 3 players that aren't the superstars have scored again, and I'm not necessarily sure that's how you drew it up coming into the season, but I don't see anybody complaining.
No, and I think they're, even with that, Rooney is quick to dish the ball off and not keep it. He knows he's hot right now.
Bravo! Right in front of him, Gedic. That looked like the moment for Omar.
And you can see Bravo slow up a little. He saw Gedic coming, did not want to mess with that. Gedic might have a little bit of height advantage on him.
You want to guess a number of inches between the two? You're more than welcome to it.
I'm going to say 8.
10.
All right. Benefit of the doubt there.
That's right. 6'4" and 5'6".
We couldn't see his eyes, but I imagine they got pretty wide seeing Gedic come over.
Gedic part of that super back line last year as Mark-Anthony Gonzalez gives chase on Cohen. Last year when he and Omar Ballo started together, 13 wins, a couple of draws right up to the championship game at that center back pairing. Ballo didn't make the trip down to Phoenix, but Gedic was a guy who was playing in Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League for Sporting Kansas City just last year. Was the team's defensive MVP and a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year in the league. Just a monster season for a rather unknown product coming in.
I love this story. He played in a small college in Kansas City, Baker University. An unknown player came into the Swope Park Rangers on tryout, tried to make the team by halfway through the season. He was a starter and then earned all those accolades.
Cortez! Oh, flag was up. And Gedic was over there on the far side of your screen trying to keep playing down the, what, Baker College, you said?
Baker University.
Baker University, yeah. Outside Kansas City.
And he comes in, finds his way into the starting lineup. Not only that, then gets his first call up to the Canadian under-23 national team. Doesn't even do that until he becomes pro. Talk about perseverance and just love of the game, continuing his dream. Pretty cool story for Gedic.
I spoke last year with a couple of players around this franchise, and they just said, we're an inspiring team. We're to an extent a little bit of a team of misfits. There are certainly players with a ton of expectation, and this is a very young team, but they were the underdog all of last year, and a couple of players referred to just how inspiring they felt their story, their run, the USL Cup final was. Storm headed out by Ramage.
Ramage, some key headers in both sides of the field here. A defensive clearance, just getting it out of danger. You can see Cohen behind him just backing off, saying, all right, you got it.
You're talking about a guy you don't want to run into. Peter Ramage diving towards the goal.
Yeah, I'd pass on that as well.
Well done by Rigi. Herlo Payanessa on his way on. Rigi got the scoring started in the 22nd, and it was quite the finish.
Beautiful. Whipped in ball
FC.
with his right foot. Goal to
Entering
a
the
goal to
match is
remember
number
for sure.
23, Matthew Herlo Payanessa.
Herlo Payanessa on his first professional contract. Could he have his first
Number 17,
professional goal
Alessandro
tonight?
Luigi.
That's enough for Luke Rooney. Blair Gavin makes his third appearance of the season.
Entering the match is number 4, Blair Gavin. Leaving the match, number 10.
Rooney
Luke
scored
Rooney.
at the spot. There's the service. Well, the target was Gedic. All 6'4" of them. Oliveira chips that towards the net. Cohen will handle that. Cortez. Cross field. Right onto the foot of Sean Wright Phillips. Couldn't direct that goal bound.
Good ball in by Cortez. Sean Wright Phillips, tough angle to go back to goal. Maybe he tries to bring it back across. Herlo Payanessa is right there, ready to put his first goal away, but you can't blame Wright Phillips trying to go to goal.
Stewart and Belmar going stride for stride, and Stewart may have tapped that back to Cohen on the way. And indeed, the whistle was against Belmar previously, as the two shaking hands after the fact.
I love that. The divots in the ground about 10 yards back, and
Due
he
to the high
dribbles.
temperature in tonight's match, the referee
And everybody is off to the sideline. And while every seat is a good seat at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, every Phoenix Rising home match during the 2017 season, two lucky fans will be upgraded to sit in the best seats in the house, courtesy of Pruitt's Fine Furniture. Lucky winners not only enjoy tonight's action in those most comfortable seats directly on the pitch, but those luxury reclining chairs, they'll be delivered to their home next week as a gift from Phoenix Rising FC and Pruitt's Fine Furniture. This is the kind of show that you want to get as close to the field as possible right now.
Absolutely. Just lounge in there, pitch side.
Phoenix a 4-0 lead. They got going quickly. Alessandro Rigi scored in the 22nd. Rooney, Cortez, and Ramage would follow. We look back. What a finish this is.
And Rigi just sees the half step on Palmer Brown, takes it back across his front foot, and then bends it into the far post, right on the seam of the netting in the far corner.
Then Luke Rooney cashes in on the Cortez foul call right on the edge of the box.
And just places the ball low and hard for goalkeeper Grecic to make a save.
Cortez right where he was fouled, then scores a few minutes later.
He was in for one tonight. He kept finding the ball, and he bends one in.
Rooney finding the captain. Ramage scoring early in the second half.
Great ball in off the corner by Rooney, and Ramage just rises above, gets his head on it, and tucks it away.
Peter Ramage in the 47th minute. And in total, less than half an hour it took for these 4 Phoenix goals to please this very partisan Phoenix crowd. And that a decidedly less lengthy hydration break, about a minute and 20 seconds, than nearly 3 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Swope might have those bags packed. They look forward to a road game at Real Monarchs, and offensively, they are staggering this year. Cortez. Herlo Payanessa trying to spin away. Duke. Belmar. Pasher. Casa cuts him off. Ball lofted through, contact, edge of the area. And a yellow card's coming, and it looks like a spot, a straight red.
And Wakasa, the last defender back, a little shove in the box.
Wow. And it seemed a little innocuous at first. It was a good ball. He had fronted the defender. Is this a red card?
It's hard to call it a red card, but the rules are the rules. You're the last defender back. You're denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Is it the tackles that you usually see for a red card? No. Is he going for any part of the ball right there? Is he hitting into the back of the player? I don't think he's going for the ball. I think he hit the back of the player, not the shoulder. A huge call to make, tough call to make.
And all of a sudden, that shutout will all come, at least for this moment, down to this. Oliveira has been terrific. He's looking for 2 goals, one goal in his second game back from injury.
A red card and match ejection has been issued by the referee.
Wakasa tossed in the 78th minute.
3, Cody Wakasa.
Cohen standing in the net. It's Cohen against Oliveira. Oliveira got him going the wrong way. Swope Park is on the board in the 79th minute.
Swope Park Rangers.
That's got to feel good for Oliveira. Get on the board, just coming back from a big injury.
Kevin Oliveira.
Hits it well, gets Cohen going the wrong way, just places it into the side netting. Decides to go with the inside of the boot.
A little more energy for Swope after that.
And you're talking about a Swope team who's going to having to play Real Monarchs next game out, and they're a tough team, but what better to cause a reaction from your team? You're playing in this game, and we talked, this is a young squad. You have to see how you react in situations where you're put under pressure, where your back's up against the wall. You said everything's all swell when you're winning 4-0, but how do you feel when you're losing 0-4?
Belmar, that slid out. Ramage just beside himself now. He's really getting at the official. Maybe putting a slight damper now. What moments ago, it's all positive. Oliveira cleared out. AJ Gray is on the touchline waiting to come in for Phoenix. He had warmed up and has his jersey slipped on now. Gavin. Herlo Payanessa. Herlo Payanessa fires it off the side of the net, and Omar Bravo, arms outstretched, was looking for the service that never came.
And the first touch just got away from Herlo Payanessa, and Bravo had slipped into a gap just easy enough inside of your right foot. Just pass it softly over to him, and Bravo taps it in. But you're in those spots. You want to score a goal. You feel like it's an easy thing to do, but that shows it's not easy.
Herlo Payanessa wants his first career goal, and you don't blame him, but Omar Bravo's coming off the field, and that was his chance to leave in a flourish.
Substitution for
his hands are in the air after he slid. Just saying why.
He played with Sporting Kansas City, was the 2011 Offensive Golden Boot winner. for Sporting Kansas City. And against Swope Park Rangers, he comes away without a goal, but his team ahead 4-1 in the 82nd on his way out. And he had to come out. He was the tactical sub with Wakasa going down due to that red card. Through ball, Mark Anthony Gonzalez coming. This time, no collision with Cohen. Panessa chasing the game down now. Duke. There's a shot just up and over. There's contact along the edge of the area.
And Oliveira has come in and really made a big difference for Swope Park. When they attack, everything has been led through him. And for Swope Park Rangers, that's really an exciting thing to see. A player that you missed for so long, out for months with a torn ACL, now back in the lineup, scoring the PK, not making as much of an impact as you would have liked on the score sheet, but it's promising.
Oliveira front running again. Last year he was number 2 is Musa. That deflects off of Mark Anthony Gonzalez, deflects to Cohen. Last year, Nicholas Murray with USLsoccer.com had his 20 under 20 rankings on the website and posted him number 2 in that group in USL. And there are a lot of future superstars. I think Alphonso Davies was in the top 5 and well-deserved as well for Vancouver Whitecaps. As this played up the right-hand side. Loto.
And you're number 2 with missing a good portion of your season. That's how much he means to this organization.
Tap back. Oliveira was the target. He really is. This is a remarkable amount of activity for a guy who's coming off an ACL tear. Contact from Colton Storm. Musa. Here's Oliveira. Pasher plays it across. Handled by Cohen. Belmar was looking for service.
Started into a good spot. There was space there. Come to the near post. I think that the near post run is key there. Could have maybe gotten a little flick if Belmar continued his run.
Herlo Panessa slides that ball into an onside position. Gavin Herlo Panessa just not there in time. Frank Gallup up off his seat. Right, Phillips defending now. 3 subs made for Phoenix. They're playing down to 10 men. Now 8 minutes. Pasher. Sliding challenge by Gray. Pasher can't win it.
Pasher's doing a good job of utilizing a player that just got in the game in the last few minutes, going at Gray 1v1. The good defending by Gray, not allowing him to get a free cross off.
Pasher, a guy who's doing steel construction, thought his soccer career was over. Working 12-hour days, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Spoke with him before the USL Cup final last year. Pasher throwing it in. And he just said, we're such an inspiring team. We came from nothing, and now we have everything. We have a chance to win a trophy for Swope Park. So much pride in him, the Canadian from Elmira. Musa sidestepping Herlo Panessa. Lifted up by Duke. Chested down by Cohen. He's got it now. Phoenix salting the game down in the dying minutes of what looks like a second consecutive victory for Swope Park. It is a jarring end to a 7-game regular season win streak, the second longest in USL history. Orlando City's streak from 2011 will live on. Cortez, Herlo Panessa. Cuts the ball across. Stewart shoving in on Belmar, and Wright Phillips breaks the pressure. Here's Gray. Canadian Youth International playing all across the right side for Frank Yala. Gidic to the feet of Belmar. Oliveira. Mark Anthony Gonzalez trying to sneak in behind again. Cohen up to the task into the 90th minute.
Those two have seen a couple interactions today. That one a little cleaner than the first one.
Palmer Brown, that was a very simple fire extinguished. Moloto came in as a trialist, last playing in Pittsburgh. Touch to the center, Oliveira. Fires, oh, he put it off the crossbar and in!
Did they rule that a goal? It seemed like that's a goal. And Oliveira does a good job. He's been pulling this step over. Just gets that half a step right there is enough, and it goes into the back of the crossbar. Enough to put it over the line as it comes back down. Beautiful goal by Oliveira.
He's got 2 in the game. 1 at the penalty spot, but that was gorgeous.
Promising. He's showing some promising return to action here tonight. 45 minutes last game. This game a little over 70 minutes, and I think he's done a really good job.
Mark Anthony Gonzalez. Vasquez was yanking at his shorts.
And that's a tough play to make when you've just seen your other defender go out for a red card with something maybe less than that. It was a hefty tug on the shorts.
Swope Park has been playing up a man now for about 12 minutes. There's 5 minutes of stoppage time. This has become a big moment for Swope Park. Oliveira lifted over the box. Palmer Brown keeps it alive, and the shot skied by Moloto. I'm just not ready to call this full time yet. I'm waiting for the official on this one because this seemed out of reach for quite some time, but Swope Park has not let this die yet.
Given a little bit of a lifeline, not only with the red card, but also with that last goal by Oliveira. It brings a little hop in your step. Okay, now we only need 2. We have 4 minutes. We may have seen that before already in this game.
Isn't that true? Herlo Panessa maybe could have done better there. Ends up deflecting the ball, finds Stewart.
No nonsense there.
Phoenix scored, to your point, 3 goals in about 6 minutes. Rigi, Rooney, Cortez. Hasher through Duke, firing it across. Not good enough from Colton Storm. That could have been a third for Swope Park.
And the whole game, I'm asking for a midfielder to run at the back line, and there Duke does just that, breaks the back line with a good run, sends in a good ball, but just can't get around it is Colton Storm. But that's how you pull teams apart, is that run out of the midfield is so hard to track. Too little too late maybe for Swope. We'll see though. Can we get a couple more of those runs?
Cohen there again, and it's amazing that he got behind so simply. Lofted in again towards Mark Anthony Gonzalez, setting up a shot. Oh, it's in! Swope Park's got a third! Unbelievable! The Golasso! Swope Park has made it a one-goal game.
And would you have guessed that it would have come from Oliveira's foot? The left foot, the ball pops up after this little pop back, and Oliveira just takes his chances on the volley, hits it with his laces, it dips back down, and you're right, we've got ourselves a ball game here.
Better wake up. Colton Storm kept it in and knocked out. Phoenix has allowed 3 goals in 20 minutes, down a man. Musa, space in the area. Mark Anthony Gonzalez stepping forward, knocked through. Musa, cross. And the flag was up for offside. Hearts are pounding now in Phoenix.
And a little bit of spark in the offense as Musa just gets too excited, gets in behind the back line of Phoenix. But we talk about reaction from a young squad. If you're Nikola Popovic, you're happy with this. Your team is fighting, scrapping, trying to get whatever they can out of this game. Could even come up with the tie the way they're playing right now.
Oliveira's got a hat trick, and he's done it in 20 minutes time. Watson. Last minute of stoppage time keeps the ball. Swope Park, numbers moving forward now. Gonzalez hit twice. Foul to Swope Park. Frank Yallop leaping off his bench, a yellow card shown. This has just become a wild finish in Phoenix. Those East Coasters went to bed at midnight, are missing something special. Line towards the box, aim for Djidic. Headed out. Corner kick. Or the flag up for offside. They were looking for the corner, and the near side official threw the flag up. Full time could not have come soon enough. Smoke billows out. Phoenix holds on. What a spirited comeback. Kevin Oliveira scores 3 in the last 20. Swope Park finishes up a man, but down a goal. That game was wild, Jordan.
Incredible game. The first half, 3 quick goals. A lot of dynamic attack by Phoenix Rising. Frank Yallop